Hi everyone, we are live. Hope you can hear me. I just had to adjust some little stuff. It's pretty weird. It's like all the settings, all the stuff I have saved on my StreamYard disappeared. Maybe due to an update. I don't know. So yeah, I just had to restart to start from scratch. All these little things you see the color, the mic, but hope. Yeah, can please someone please confirm that everything is good, loud and clear. I already see three people in the chat. Not in the chat. Three people are watching. Hallo Thorsten. So yeah, can you? I won't send you in German, but can you please confirm that everything is fine from your end? Should be fine, but okay, alles gut. Okay, Dankeschön, danke dir. Yep. Yes, I don't know. I didn't change anything. I didn't upgrade my StreamYard. So StreamYard is the program or the platform or the software. It's a streaming software that we that pretty much not everyone, but we lots of, not only on a VC. You can use it on LinkedIn or various other social network stuff, Facebook. And yeah, I still have the basis version which I use, which is for me completely fine. But yeah, as I said, I was surprised. I made some when I create the event. I was surprised to see that everything had disappeared. The frame, the stuff. So yeah, hi everyone. Hope you guys are okay. It is Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. over here on the East Coast, and we don't have any more of snow. Yeah, we was a bit surprised. I think it was last week, Wednesday. I think November the 10th. We were expecting something like 4 inches, and we finally got like 12. So yeah, how about that? First snowfall of the year over here, and I know in Toronto they also got a little bit of snow, but it all went gone. It's all like everything is like clear off. So up until the next event. So yeah, it's been pretty quiet as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the purchases which I could have made, or I didn't make any at all since the last record show in Montreal last month. Spent lots of time on abroad, not abroad, but like driving, not at home. So which means yeah, I could really enjoy some stuff online. And hi, salut Clément. And yeah, so I'm expecting to have some people in the as a panel with myself today. We won't do any live stream tomorrow, so I will maybe repeat it again, as I will be like witnessing that lots of some French people maybe might be interested in to know, because yeah, I just been asked several times earlier this morning, hey, you guys, Stunty are back from the Bosch, will you guys be hosting a live stream tomorrow on the Disco de Dupif? So the answer is no. Yeah, it's yeah, I won't tell anything. Everything's fine, everything's good, but no, there is no live stream tomorrow on Disco de Dupif with Stunty and myself. So we will be doing today here Disco de Dupif, à la Disco de Dupif. Maybe Stunny will be joining later. Well, I got him on the phone earlier today, and yeah, I know. Don't be sad, Clément. Don't be sad. It's we will try to do the best to reopen the comptoir de la French VC next week. But hey, we have Mike over here. Welcome on board.
Hiya, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good, pretty good. As I said, no, I didn't say that, but you sent me some picture of a concert you attended
Yes, last
yesterday.
night's gig, yeah, it was excellent. It was really good fun.
And while I was doing all the prep, cleaning the apartment, I went on Spotify and I listened to their stuff, and it's damn good. And I think Clément over here might know the band. So we are talking about the band called Kneecap.
Yep, yep, that's right. Yeah, Irish language rappers. I mean, they perform in English
Irish.
and in Irish. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, their debut album, their only album so far, is called Fine Art, and it's absolutely wonderful. I mean, I was listening to it again today.
Oh, you have a copy on vinyl.
Of course,
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So there you are. That's the album. As I say, it's called Fine Art, and I mean, I know the color of the vinyl isn't the most important thing, but I'll show you this because it's really quite nice. So it's there you go. You've got the Irish tricolor there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah, and they're absolutely fantastic band. You know, they're very political.
Yeah.
And the British establishment sort of hate them, and that's an absolutely brilliant reason to go out and buy their albums. I think. You know, so yeah, they've got quite a history. So what happened? I don't know, a couple of years ago now. They received a grant from Arts Council in Northern Ireland to continue with their work. And the Conservative government at the time, in particular, the Home Secretary at the time, now the leader of the Conservative Party, Kemi Badenoch, decided that this was an absolute outrage because Kneecap are anti-British.
Yeah, you can tell.
And
Yeah.
I mean, really, I think they should be defined. They're very much pro the Irish language. Yes, they do believe in a united Ireland, but anyway, that the Conservative government blocked their Arts Council grant, and so they went to court and won. And they even made the court performance and the court appearance into a performance. So what they have is an old sort of a repurposed Royal Ulster Constabulary Land Rover, and they arrived at the front of Belfast sort of High Court in this Land Rover, and they all jumped out the back of it. And then their lawyer sort of came out the back as well. So there's a band of three of them, and then there's this man, very sober, in a dark grey suit, carrying a briefcase. Their lawyer was in the back of the Land Rover as well, and they won their case because just because some people decide they're unpatriotic is not a reason to stifle their artistic endeavour, is it? And yeah, so yes, they get themselves into all sorts of trouble. They're very much supporters of the Palestinian cause, and that causes trouble as well. But there's another incident that was down in Melbourne, that apparently there was a statue of King George V in Melbourne, and some time ago, the statue had been decapitated.
Okay.
And nobody knew what was going on. And then some months later, Kneecap performed in Melbourne, and the stone head of King George V appeared on stage with them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that they weren't. It's not that they were responsible for decapitating the statue, but somebody gave it to them to to sort of wave about on stage for a little while. So yeah, they're very controversial. They caught controversy. I mean, I must say, but they're an absolutely excellent band. A very sort of punky style of rapping.
how do you discover this band, and another extent, why did you're from Leeds? We can tell you're from England.
Yeah, I'm from England. Yeah, I
You're
mean,
from England,
I
so
grew up
yeah.
in the south of England. I live
We
in Yorkshire now.
we could be surprised that you're from England. You like this kind of art, and you go to a gig. I wouldn't say you were too old to go to a hip hop concert, because I might be too old as well. So some young people, 13,
Well,
40 years old, might think the same about me. So I'm not saying that. Don't get me wrong, but
there was
what?
there's a smattering of older people attend these gigs nowadays.
Mm,
I think that's a big difference. That when I was young going to gigs, you wouldn't see older people at all
yeah.
at, uh, rock gigs or whatever. But now you do, and it's quite normal. You know,
But my,
needless to say, I'm not down the front in the mosh pit anymore.
yeah,
That would be
it's
too
this.
much.
It's the same with hip hop concert in my hometown back in '95 or '96. You wouldn't see old people at the hip hop concert as well, because
Yeah,
it wasn't really okay. My hometown was not perhaps the perfect example, or to get the best sample of France, but things change. I think things change,
yeah,
and I know when some I was fully into a band called I Am from the south of France, and they when they turned like 40, 45 years old, they was like, hey, are we still relevant to do some rap music at our age? So they asked themselves this question.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's it. I think in terms of being performers, it's you know it's for young people. I think, and I think that's the case with most sort of music. I mean, that's the way music moves on, isn't it? The way things sort of develop over the years is that sort of young people sort of find their own groove, and new forms of music emerge from that, and it's a very natural thing that's been going on for a very long time.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I still like discovering new music anyway. But yes, they did get quite a lot of airplay on the BBC, on Six Music in particular, and I just thought they were really good. And then we started having the controversy because people decided that it was not appropriate for them to espouse any sort of political views, particularly those views that don't support what the British government is doing.
Mm.
But that and again, politics has always been tied up with music in some way or another, and I think people just get unnecessarily angry about these things sometimes. And the gig last night was absolutely superb. That they're very professional. There was behind the band there was a screen that you know showed sort of various bits of film and animations and whatever to go with what they were playing. And yeah, they were really fantastic. And the support act, she was very good as well. And I mean, I don't know if Fred's coming up tonight, but
He will try his best. Yeah, he told me. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it was a young rapper. And she's First Nations. She grew up in Tasmania and is now based in Melbourne. And she's
Mhm.
called Miss Kanina, Miss Kanini, or is it no Miss Kanina? That's right, Kinnina, and she was really quite good, and she clearly shares the same sort of political world as Kneecap do. But yeah, it was a fantastic show all round, and thoroughly enjoyed it. But the one thing about older people, us older people going to gigs is that standing up for 3 hours now becomes a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I find my whole body seizing up, and I'm quite relieved sometimes when the gig ends and I can get moving again. But yeah, but that's one of the things. I suppose I could pay for a seat, couldn't I? But I prefer to stand. Yeah.
I will
So
try. I will try to get myself a copy of this album because I truly liked it, and I truly like the diversity of the
yeah,
influence, the blues influence. There is a song where he samples a bass line,
yeah,
and the Oriental stuff, which I really can relate to the stuff I was into. So,
yeah. That's right.
and
That's right.
thank you for this. Yeah,
Yes, and of course there's sort of Irish folk music in there as well,
yeah,
as you would probably expect. I'll show you another album,
sure, sure.
and there you go. This is Kneecap music from the motion picture, and as you see, there's a British advisory sticker on there, and
Yeah,
it contains the Irish language. But this is this is soundtrack of the film that was by Michael Fassbinder, and it won a prize at Sundance, and it's a fictionalized or semi-fictionalized account of the rise of Kneecap as a band, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's a fantastic film, and they really that that they really make the most of their roots in Northern Ireland, and they attack everybody basically. That this is another thing that they've been accused of uh, being in cahoots with Irish Republican terrorists, but that is not the truth. They're pro sort of unification of Ireland and whatever, but they're nothing to do with the violence. And in this film, they ruthlessly, uh, take aim at the Republican terrorists. And yes, it's lovely. And this has got various sort of various other sort of Irish rappers, and Fontaines DC have got a track on here, and you probably heard of Fontaines DC.
yeah,
Yeah,
as
an
it happened.
absolutely brilliant band.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I remember last year in the VC, pretty much everyone, especially in the French VC, they were like hyping the with the heart, that pink heart.
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't something to me. I think I have to go back a little bit again. Being
yeah, yeah.
triggered in
I mean,
V.
I
Yeah,
absolutely love them, but they've got a track on here, and other tracks by a rapper called Mikey J. Orbital um, have got a track on here as well. Who else? Alana Royale, who's somebody I don't really know. The Bonnie Men, so it's sort of Bicep as well. Bicep are an excellent band. So yeah, so there you go. Yes, that question. What does Ian think of? Yes, yeah, but by Ian, we're talking about Ian. Ranking the obscure.
ranking the obvious, ranking the obscure. Sorry.
Yes, ranking the obscure. Yeah,
Mm.
and I pair with him on his live stream every Thursday night. And let's just say that I think this live stream is a better forum for discussion of Kneecap than Thursday night.
Mm.
I'll leave it at that. I'll leave you to decide what that actually means. But yeah, but I love the band, but I'm always looking for something that's a bit different. And there's something about me that I think if there's a bit of controversy around a band, or an artist, it makes me want to know more.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not always the case that I'm going to say, "Oh, yeah, I've got to buy an album by this person because of some sort of controversy or other." But
Yeah,
it
when it
certainly kind
when
of
it's
piques my interest when.
when it's marketing, when it's created, that
Oh,
that
that's that.
kind
Yes,
of things.
and I mean, I think in sort of kind of living memory, I suppose that the whole Blur versus Oasis thing
That's right.
was,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
manufactured controversy. Now, this is more where bands are criticised for their political views, for instance,
Yeah,
or speaking out on social issues.
I remember a good friend of mine mentioned Redbone earlier this week. He just discovered Redbone. He's a young guy, and he said, "Hey, do
Right.
you know about Redbone?" I say, "Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm not expert, but I remember back in the days that they were supported at the beginning. They were doing some rock stuff. I think Jimi Hendrix supported them, and when it got to the point where they finally started to becoming controversial because they were Native Americans, they didn't get the support any longer. There was
Yeah.
a time that it was too much for
Yeah.
mainstream. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, this kind of happens, and there's another example I can think of, and it's the female country band called Dixie Chicks.
never heard.
Yeah, they're really quite sort of anodyne, country rock music, really, and very much sort of mainstream. But then then there was a bit of political controversy. I think one of them said something as mild as they didn't really like Donald Trump very much, and all of a sudden, they become pariahs in certain sections of the country music community. So it doesn't take very much, I think, sometimes, in order for that to that to transpire. But yeah, I suppose you call it cancel culture, wouldn't you? But yeah, it does happen, and I think it's a shame when it does. But I tend to go yeah. Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah, it was the Iraq War and Bush. That's it. Yes, it was. It's a lot longer ago than Donald Trump, wasn't it? Thanks for that. I knew I was wrong. I knew that wasn't quite the issue, but I knew it was something. But they were quite. You know, they said. They said their piece, but they didn't really. As far as I can remember, they didn't really go full on. They weren't really. Uh, really trying to be controversial. I think it was just it's just a statement of fact that they didn't like, what was happening, and all of a sudden they become, outcasts in the country music community. Yeah, so yeah,
Back
these
to
things,
the Northern Ireland topic. Uh,
yeah,
I'm not really an expert by far from Northern Ireland bands. I can think of and the undertones.
yes,
Would you think they would have get the same amount of support from John Peel had they be they weren't really like controversial band, and
no,
was a good rock bands absolutely.
yeah. I think I mean, can't say for sure, but if they were, you know, an openly sort of political
Mm,
band, supporting the Republican cause in Northern Ireland. I don't think I'd like to think that John Peel wouldn't have factored that in. That he would have still said, "Yeah, they're a great band." But yes, I mean the undertones were very much sort of a non-political band. They just
yeah,
did their stuff. They did sort of brilliant punk rock, sort of at the sort of poppy
Teenage
end of the
Kicks, yeah.
spectrum, and they're
Mm.
brilliant. But um, another band that were not. I wouldn't say they're really political, but they were, very much in touch with, what was happening in Northern Ireland, and that was reflected in their songs. And that Stiff Little Fingers,
Hmm.
that a lot of their music was um, about Northern Ireland. There was I mean, probably their biggest hit was Alternative Ulster, but they weren't supporting any side. They were sort of that they were expressing it, I think, in terms of being, the young people in Northern Ireland, and they're fed up with all this stuff going on. The sectarian violence.
I think it was a little, my opinion might was a little bit too close. I remember there was this humorist, French humorist in the 80s. He was referring to the Pinochet, in Chile. How do you say Chile, the country?
Yeah,
And he said, yeah, lots of people, they criticize the regime, but they are 5,000 miles apart, and this is fine. And lots of like protest songs against apartheid was found in Europe, or it's not something that takes place really in the same country, or because it's the stakes a little bit. It's a little bit tricky. It's a little
yeah,
bit, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I would have thought it would be very, very difficult to be a band in Northern Ireland in in say the 1960s or 70s, particularly in the 70s during the Troubles, to be a band in Northern Ireland and to not have the Troubles sort of imprint itself a little bit on your music, on your art, because it was all around them. They were living it day by day. So yeah. Yeah, apolitical. Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. It's fair enough, but yeah, yeah. I don't think it's compulsory, is it, for um, musicians to be out there and signposting their political views, but a lot of them do, and you know, a lot of that is to do with particular issues, particular things that are happening in the world at a particular time, and they would express a view on that. And often these statements get sort of blown up out of all proportion, don't they? And it's sad, really, but that's the way it is. But you know I've never had any sort of difficulty in listening to musicians who are overtly political. That is fine. That's fine as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, now with the benefit of the hindsight, the German rock band that I do like the most are those from the Eastern Germany, when
Oh yes,
behind the Iron Curtain. I think it's much more interesting, when when I speak German, so I understand the lyrics when I try to how we say, we have a saying for us, we say read between the lines.
yeah, yeah. That's
and they
right.
and they were forced to be extremely, like, not to say out loud what they thought of the regime. And some bands were really like talking about an apple tree, for instance. And when you think about, okay, they mean the freedom, or the stuff they don't have in Eastern Germany. So
Yeah, yeah,
if only kneecap kept to Irish politics. Okay.
yeah. Well, the whole the whole Palestine thing is what's happening in the world at the moment. Just
Uh,
because you're Irish, you don't have to stick to
yeah.
Irish politics, do you?
Welcome to the show, Star Power 4838. First time I see you over here. So welcome. From what I gather, hip hop or rap bands back in the 90s, where I was fully into those stuffs, they they didn't only had one topic they were arguing about. They were like engaged in the politics of what happening in France, for instance, French bands, but they also have their opinions about the U.S., the war in Iraq. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's not.
and late sixties, of course. It's you know hippies
Yeah,
talking about Vietnam, isn't it?
the Beatles, when they were touring in the U.S., something we don't see any longer. But when they arrived at the airport, they had this conference interview, and they got asked questions about every political related issues of the moment,
Mm.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I mean, John Lennon was a very political animal, wasn't he? And
yeah, he can we say he used his music to political ends at the between 71 and 75.
I think you're absolutely right, because even songs like Imagine is a political song, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so some
But yeah, sorry.
somebody comment on the video where I did show this album, say I don't like communism even when it's wrapped in a beauty, nice looking paper. And I say, okay, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
And
that, that,
he had a song, give the Irish back to the Iron back to the Irish, I
yes,
think.
that's right. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. I mean, this is it. I mean, yes, Paul. Say even Paul McCartney. Sort of became, political to a certain extent. But John Lennon, I mean, I suppose his most political album was Sometime in New York City, and there's all
yeah.
sorts of causes that he's singing about.
Angela Davis, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. Mm, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure I entirely agree with that, but yeah, yeah. This idea. I mean, some. I think some people are, their music. What they say is very political, but it's not. It can. I think it's often where things are sort of are said that maybe are quite mainstream, that people will claim that they're not political, but everyone is, aren't they, to a certain extent? I think
Yeah.
everybody has a view, and I think it'd be rather strange if you didn't have a view on what was happening in the world around you.
Yeah, some singer in France, they never express their views, but when it comes to paying the tax, they move to Switzerland.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yes,
And
I mean that's right. Yes, or Irish bands that own a shopping centre in, what's it, Estonia or Latvia or somewhere, for tax purposes.
okay.
Yeah. Mm, yeah. I mean, artists have got to be free to express their views, not the you know, not the views of everybody else, not the you know, not
Mm.
what they think people want to hear.
Yeah,
You know,
but everyone is free to
yeah.
give his opinion over here. We are here to talk about music and records. And as it happens, Mike If you missed the start of the stream, was sending me earlier, I think yesterday, a picture of a concert, and I was really curious. And this is what I always do. I receive like tons of recommendations from Fred, Stunty, you, and every other people. And this is what I usually do when I like the music. I like to discover the surroundings, the background, the context, and
Yeah,
it's hard to avoid the political aspects when talking about such stuff. It's really hard. So
but quite often I think that's what makes the music interesting. It's not created in a vacuum. I think it's art. Not to sound too pretentious, but there's a difference between, I think, pop music that is produced, is written by, say, a a songwriting team.
mhm.
That I mean, I can think, in America, I think quite a lot of pop music is written by quite large teams of people. And in the UK, of course, in the 80s, we had Stock Aitken and Waterman, who wrote and produced many hits for many people. But it was music that was written to be popular. It was music that was written to get to the top of the charts.
Yeah.
So so in many ways it's sort of it's produced in a vacuum. The society around it doesn't really exist, or doesn't need to exist in any particular way. That instead you get you get the pop music. It's, this is what the kids want. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But I prefer something that maybe develops out of something, out of people's
Handcrafted.
experience.
It's like beer. You have the beer to fill the gap, because the whole society, we need beer at the grocery store or in stadium, and sometimes we need something more handcrafted with a character. How is that the right term? But and don't blame people who listen to pop music. There is
No,
nothing. Yeah,
I mean
there
we
is.
we've all done it. I still do, and there's pop music that I really like, and that's that's great. But
Mm.
it's when you think back, and a lot of pop music is very disposable, isn't it? You listen to it for so much time. This music is in the charts, and then it disappears, and it almost gets forgotten about, doesn't it?
Mhm.
And other music, that is produced sort of not particularly with the charts in mind, where people are working from experience, from that they're putting a bit of themselves into the music. That often this music might not be quite as instantly accessible, but it stays with you. You get into this music, and you can listen to it years later, and it still sounds fresh. That's maybe the difference. But yeah.
And the way that those are a source of inspiration or not. We were talking about John on I think on Ian stream,
Mm.
and at a point I did ask the simple question. I think Simon was on air, and is he a fan of Elton John? I don't really know. And I asked him, "Hey, do you have something in mind instantly, who have been inspired by Elton John?" And I think no one knows about it, or
Yeah.
it's not bad music. He's still here. He made a great career, no question about that. And sold out stadium, playing in gigs in stadiums. So yeah, totally agree. But from the artistic point, is that something Was he ever, a source of inspiration? Did you only read on a credit on the back cover things to inspire? Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, I think Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is an excellent album, but
It's this. It's the only
not a
album
lot of else.
I
Not a
have.
lot of else. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. And
yeah,
a song for Guy, when you start to play piano, which I
yeah,
did.
yeah.
It's a great track. It's the only stuff I still have in mind when I sit to piano.
Right,
Okay,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes, I mean, you look at the biggest artists in the world, and maybe they're not the people that are most influential. They're not necessarily the people that have sort of moved music into a whole new direction.
Speaking about inspiration of people, you and I were talking about Clémentine Marche, and I think I did comment something like he reminded me. Her voice at least reminds me of Elie Medeiros, and you said the only stuff you know about her is she was the lead singer of the Stingy Toys.
That's right. Yeah,
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 and we had this discussion. Now I think the day after I had with Fred. So I rediscovered the stuff she was doing in the 80s, because she was quite popular in the 80s in France.
right.
And she was also with the Jacquenot, which was I don't have the records over here. Maybe some Fred, if he comes later, he will or Stunty. He can show maybe those first record of minimal
Right,
synth. But she was also a part of this project, which is not the most obvious stuff
right,
when you think of. But this is Ramucho Mata, and this is
right,
and she saw she you can hear her voice on some stuff, and this is pretty much like to me it's like very like jazz
right,
ambient, really hard to describe. I bought this record at Den Bosch last year, and this guy, I think, was his father was from Chile. He was born in France,
right,
and this is a journey between the sense, between the continent. It has the jazz influence, the African percussions, the minimalism. Uh, so not like very easy listening to, and I also got this one which is a little bit more accessible to my ears.
right.
Always with a very like ambient, very like minimalist, but and he partnered with Elie Medeiros. So one thing
Yeah.
leads to another.
What they do, and that's a really good thing about collecting music. I think to listen to music, the one thing leads to another.
Mm,
You create your own sort of threads through the sort of massive canon of music that's out there, and I absolutely love doing that. And I've got I've got a list of you know artists and bands that I really think I ought to listen to, but it's so long. It's it's such a long list that I'll never get to it. But you get talking to people, don't you? And they say, well, if you like this,
yeah,
yeah, how about this? And you
because
think, yeah, and you go and
because
listen to it online, and you think, yes, I like that, and it's another one. It's
because
another record.
the only reason I have these records is because we had a stream with, I think, with Steny and Fred, and this is not something like if I talk to this about this with my father, he wouldn't know. But if I say, look, the Entourage, Jacques No, he say, oh yeah, sure,
All
absolutely.
right,
And
right.
so this is just behind, the you,
Yeah, that's really interesting because that it's an album or it's a band that sort of it kind of provides a bridge, doesn't it, between almost between generations.
Mhm.
You know, there are references in there that sort of people can relate to from before, and then and also after. Yeah, and that's really good. That's really good. But yeah, there's so many things out there, and I've got one or two things that I've bought recently. In fact, yeah, quite a lot. I show I show this one first because she's she's a Swedish keyboard player, and you can't actually see it. There you go. It's Anna von Hauswolf, and she's a Swedish keyboard player, and she's a virtuoso on the on a pipe organ, and of course the sort of what one type of building that you would find a pipe organ would be in a church.
Usually, yeah.
And so she's played gigs in churches, and a few years back, she went to she was playing gigs in France, and she had a gig in Nantes in the church in Nantes, and her music. Not so much this album. This is quite an accessible sort of album. It's got sort of various keyboard sort of sounds on it, but it's not quite as dark and gothic as her early stuff. And and her early stuff is really quite dark. And I only have CDs by her from earlier on. But as I say, it's dark, it's gothic, and should I say it? It's satanic, or at least that's what some people think. And she was about to play this gig in church in Nantes, and there was a radical Catholic group that picketed the venue and said that there's no way they were going to let a Satanist play their church organ, and they got away with it. That the gig was cancelled apparently. Because of this. So people can take quite make quite extreme sort of
Statements,
connections, and sort of quite extreme conclusions about people just by the sound of her music. But but she's an excellent keyboard player. And so this is her latest album. It's only been out a couple of weeks or so. It's called Iconoclasts, as you can see, and it's a double album. There you go. There's just all the lyrics and whatever. But she's certainly worth sort of having a listen to if you like. That sort of keyboard heavy.
How did you discover? You say you have some other previous albums on CD, which means she's been around for 10, 20 years something. So how do you discover?
Yeah, probably, yeah. So
55 euros, yeah, but if it's a double album, 55, it's
that's expensive. I'm absolutely certain I didn't pay anywhere near that. But yeah, that's quite that's quite expensive, Christopher. Yeah.
50,
Wow.
yeah, for a double album. I don't know.
Yeah, but she's very good. She's very good. But
Yeah, no, 50, yeah, euros. Sorry, I'm living in Canada, so yeah, if I convert it, it's freaking expensive. You're right.
Yeah, 55 euros. I suppose it's about. I would say it's about £45. I don't know.
In Canadian, it's probably something like 80. So 40 quids, maybe 40 British.
Yeah. That sounds about right. 40-ish. Yeah. That sounds it. But Yeah, I picked up 3 albums that all sort of related musically. They're quite related. This was at the last sort of record fair, and they're all proggy albums. So the first one is this one. This is Dive Deep by Quintessence, and it's, I think, from 1971. It's from the early 70s anyway, and it's on the Island label, as you can see.
Yeah.
And they were one of the probably sort of many sort of psychedelic sort of prog bands that were deeply influenced by Eastern culture, and you can really
I have
oh yes,
this one.
that's a debut, isn't it?
Yeah, Blissful French Press.
Yeah.
And this one, which kind of let me down, it was like this one I bought in Den Bosch. Yeah,
it's not a later one.
Yeah, it's later 72 something, but this is a 69. This is
yeah. So that's an album that I'm looking for. But
was not the bargain.
Yeah. But they're a band that I must say I didn't really know them very much. Oh yes, lovely Pink Island label, and that was one thing. And then there's a bit of Irish music again, Irish prog, and this is a band that I've been aware of them, since the early 70s, but I never really got around to buying their records until relatively recently. And now I picked up quite a few, and this is the latest one I got. And they're not the most popular band in the world, so their records are extremely cheap at record fairs. You can pick them up for next to nothing, which is lovely. So this is Horslips, and you can see the album's called Dancehall Sweethearts. And so you've got, it's prog, it's Irish folk, and it's got this sort of Horslips sort of sound. I mean, some of their albums are more folky, and some of them are more sort of proggy. I would say this one is somewhere in between, but more prog than folk.
Is it the Irish Strobes?
I don't know.
Feel free to disagree. You know, it's
I don't really think so. No, I wouldn't say so. But they've got quite an interesting sort of history, or at least their sort of the origins of the band. But apparently, a group of them were, they were musicians, but sort of amateur musicians with no sort of real pretensions, I think, of being sort of being a professional rock band. And they were also, at least one of them was linked to the advertising industry. And back in the 1960s, there was a very popular and not very nice brand of lager called Harp, Irish lager called Harp, and they needed to have a band for an advert they were doing. So they were advertising the lager, and they needed some people to be a band in a pub, I think, and it was these guys sort of turned up, and apparently the story goes that they enjoyed that sort of so much pretending to be a band that they decided that they would become a real band.
A real band. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's that. And now this is more of the sort of the jazz end of prog, and this is a band called If, and this is probably about their 6th album, And I mean, the first 4 albums were all called If. You've got If 2, If 3, and If 4. But this one is called, as you can see, it's called Tea Break Over, Back in Your Heads, which is actually the punchline of a joke. So there you go. And yeah, they're very, very good sort of, jazzy sort of prog band. They're not, I wouldn't say they're really sort of Canterbury scene, but they would certainly appeal to people who like bands like Soft Machine, I think.
Okay, more rock in opposition, maybe. No rock, Henry Cow, something.
No, because they're quite, it's quite melodic stuff, really. It's not, it's not sort of out there sort of jazz.
Okay, so more like something like Return to Forever, Mahavishnu Orchestra, maybe. No.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely people like John McLaughlin. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, that's absolutely the kind of ballpark that these guys would be in. So I just I just had a sort of an idea that I'd look for some of this early 70s prog stuff, and yeah, and I got those albums.
Never heard of never heard of the Irish stuff. Quintessence, of course. I do have
Yeah,
but
yeah. Horselips are very, very interesting band. That they go into exploring Irish folklore quite often in the music.
yeah, we don't see that much those stuff over here, I have to say.
No,
Here in Montreal, it's the country, folk, Americana section. Yeah, we don't have that much of Irish, even English stuff. It's not like something
yeah,
that's normal. But
yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah, he says he 70 US for foldering gates. That's a lot of money.
yeah. It is, but
Yeah.
I've seen copies of the Fotheringay debut
Mm.
for quite a lot of money quite recently.
Really?
Mm.
Were they on the island label?
On the island, yeah,
Okay.
definitely,
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So it's it's a pink label thing.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
actually there's actually an album, a Fotheringay album that's coming out. I think early in the new year that I noticed, and
Okay.
it's 2 BBC sessions that they did
Okay.
on an album. So I'm quite looking forward to that. I think that'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, I don't have. It's on the list. I never see the stuff. And Fred showed this album, so the iconic, which looked like a ugly medieval
Yeah,
cover. You have maybe for those who don't know, that's the band Sandy Denny formed with her ex partner. Can we say when she left Fairport Convention?
yeah,
So that's part of
I
the
think,
revival of the British folk music.
yeah. So yeah, so
Yeah, that's the
here's
one.
my
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So there's the rather badly drawn artwork,
yeah. But really good album. Yeah.
but an excellent album. Yes, don't let the cover fool you into thinking that there's not much to say here, because there definitely is, and yeah, as you can see, it's on the iconic pink label.
Yeah.
But I think I mean I don't know for sure, because I'm not looking for a copy, but I'm sure I've seen it recently for maybe £60 or £70
Wow.
in the UK. Yeah,
Wow.
for a first press. Yeah, and the thing is that there aren't many reissues either. I think that's something that pushes the price up a little bit.
Yeah, I saw the Fairport Convention's debut. I saw it has been reissued.
It has, yeah.
Yeah, but he was not on the Island label. The debut album. Oops. The debut album was on Polydor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not the most. Wouldn't say the most. Yeah, no, it's not the most interesting.
It's not the best Fairport album by
No,
any means.
no,
Any
no.
means. I think when you get into their second and third albums, you know, on Half Bricking, what we did on the holidays, that's when they start to get really interesting, I think.
Yeah. Plus, they were all recorded within a 1 year frame.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
yeah, I know, but that used to be the way things were. That bands would, produce 2 or 3 albums a year.
Yeah. Recording, touring. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yes. That's quite, quite quite a sort of a heavy sort of routine, really, isn't it? You can imagine getting really burnt out by all of this if you just, you you're under pressure to produce another album, then you have to
Yeah.
go and store it, and then
This is
you have to produce another one.
this is what Berliench said in the documentary I watched recently. He said that Pentangle lasted 7 years, and after 7 years, it was like burned.
Yeah, yeah, and yes. I mean, Pentangle lasted till about 1972, was it? Something like that.
It lasted 7 years. Debut album is 68. So
It'll be about 74 then, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
About 1974, I think, was then the last album, and then they were reformed as Jackie McShane's Pentangle.
yeah. And you made
Yeah,
an interesting comment on I think on Thursday about that. What's your take again?
sorry.
What's your opinion? Because you said something like it's not the real Pentangle.
It's
Yeah.
yes, because it's not Bert and John, is it? And
Mm.
it's very much sort of it's more sort of jazzy than folky. I think the
Okay.
the music. It's not anything that I would really recommend people go out and look for. It doesn't really do it for me. But then for other people it may do. But
Who was
not a patch. Or
or who were the guitar players in this version?
I don't know. I
Okay.
really don't know. All I know is that they were, that they were marketed as Jackie McShane's Pentangle, which suggests that there wasn't any other. What's my cutoff with Fairport? I don't know, because there's the stuff that they're doing now. I mean, it's not Fairport convention, and I was talking to the guy that owns a record shop in Leeds, a very popular record shop with English VC people who find themselves in Leeds, and that's called Wall of Sound, and it's this tiny little shop in a basement underneath another record shop, and the guy there is very much a Richard Thompson fan and a Fairport Convention fan, and he described Fairport at the moment, and Fairport in the last he said the last 10 years or so. He said Fairport Convention now isn't even a very good Fairport Convention tribute band.
Tribute band. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think where I would go. I mean, certainly, Yeah, Fairport 9. But then you got Rising for the Moon, which was Sandy Denny's sort of comeback from Fotheringay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to have a look.
Yeah. Yeah, that probably the same. Yeah, probably the same as you, Mike. Even if the question wasn't intended to.
Yeah.
To me, that's probably the.
Yeah. So we make our way through it. Obviously, you've got you get up to Leisure Leaf. You've got Full House, Angel Delight, Babcom Lee, which I think is underrated. Then you've got Rosie. I think I've got these in the right order, but Rosie is one of those albums that sort of it's okay. It's okay in parts, but it's not brilliant. And Fairport 9 as well. And then you've got the Bonnie Bunch of Roses. And I'm really not that keen on this album. It's actually on the Vertigo label, would you believe? And the title track, which is what it's about. It's about Napoleon imagining sort of being able to sort of overcome the English, and it's his sort of imagination about it all. But I think on this it's sung by Dave Swarbrick. I think I could be completely wrong, but there's another version of this song, and it's June Tabor and the Oyster Band, and June Tabor really, her version of it just sort of, it's no comparison to that Fairport one. Hey,
hello.
We got.
Hey, Fred. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. So I suppose we get up to about sort of Rising for the Moon and.
What's your take on this one?
I like Gladys Leap.
Yeah.
But again, it's a little sort of yeah. There you go. Yeah. So it's a little inconsistent, but I like the story behind the title of the record.
Yeah, the post woman.
The post mistress. Yeah.
Post of yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that, Fred?
No.
Yeah. Because it's called Gladys Leap, and it's dedicated to a postwoman who's called Gladys in the village. Yeah, there you go. And she used to deliver posts around the village, and she used to take a shortcut over the fields. And there was a little stream, and the little stream had a plank of wood that she could walk over. But when it had been raining particularly hard, the plank of wood would get washed away sometimes, so she would have to leap over the little stream. And then some people in the village decided that they would write to the Ordnance Survey, who sort of make maps in the UK, to actually include this little bit of the stream on their maps and call it Gladys Leap, and they did. So that's that's where the title comes from. But that's probably the best thing about the album.
Richard Thompson is back. So
yes, Richard Thompson is back. Yeah. So it's not a bad album.
No, it's not.
But again, I think it's quite inconsistent.
This one I really like. It's not Fairport, okay, but it's interesting. She had recorded with the Strobes in '67, and this one only. The record.
I'm gonna grab my coffee. I'll be back.
Okay? Sure. Only saw the light of the day in '72.
Yeah.
So, but it's you always have a feeling of her English folk DNA, and
I think there's think it's two versions of that that's slightly different, because I've got that. I've got Sandy Denny and the Straws, but there's another version of it that's called All Their Own Work. And
Oh yeah.
And a couple of the tracks are slightly, there's slightly different running order, and I think there's a couple of tracks that, all their own work, yeah. Yes, I'm sure there's more than one version of that.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah. But I'll put these back before I end up with too much.
Can we close the Fairport Convention chapter? Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a sort of. I don't think there's an actual sort of cut-off point. There's not a point where I say sort of like, you should listen to all these albums, but forget about all the albums after that. I don't think it's quite like that. But I think sort of really when we get to Rising for the Moon, I think that's probably about the last one that I thought was really, really spot on. But there's still albums.
What's your take on that, Fred? What's your cutoff point?
Well, I'm a bit more extreme than you both, I guess. My Fairport Convention collection stops at Angel Delight. It doesn't go any further.
Fair enough. I mean, by that time you've got them all. So I can't really quite remember the order. Does Babacom Lee come before or after?
After.
It comes after, doesn't it? Yeah.
So I mean, but it's a space thing too. I mean, like in theory, you could collect everything to its fullest if you wanted to, but I'm already at, almost at maximum capacity here, and having 5 or 6 or whatever 5 Fairport Convention albums, that's a good enough snapshot for me to understand the band. Like I don't feel the need, to buy those later albums that are maybe considered as less vital. Maybe would rather have other great folk albums by other artists in the place.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you totally. And I wouldn't implore you to go out and buy the later Fairport albums, because they're not, they're not world class.
Case in point, this is an album that I picked up for next to nothing the other day.
Roy Harper, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Roy Harper, yeah.
It's folk joke opus. Really, really nice album. That obviously this is a reissue, but it was only like, it was a really, really cheap. It was a shop that was discounting everything, and I was just looking through, and this, I mean, when is it from? The reissue a few years back, 2000, 20 or something, or 18 or something. But it's a really lovely record, and it's probably one of the, because it's Stormcock and Valentine, so it's in that sort of time period of early Roy Harper, but really, really, really great early Roy Harper. So that that's a space I'm willing to make in my collection. I don't know what people are going to say. Should get originals, whatever. But this sounds really great, and it costs nothing. So it's 2019. Yeah, that's what. But, I was listening to this the other day. And I can't believe I've not had this for all these. You know, I love Roy Harper, and I was kind of stunned that I sort of neglected it. You know, but yeah. So yeah, that's an example of what you would include instead of more Fairport, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, there was something that somebody that you showed, Fred, on your latest French video, and that's Michael Hurley.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been listening to quite a lot of Michael Hurley at the moment because I haven't got anything by him at all. But there's been a whole load of his albums have been recently reissued.
And no, it's
Yeah.
I'm trying to find my Michael Hurley record, but it's not there. Should be here on my feet. But what did you think? What is it? Something that you were into before I said something, or were you or
No, the thing is that I was browsing through the Honest John's website.
Yeah.
And there was a whole load of these Michael Hurley albums came up, and I like the covers of them.
Yeah.
You know, and I just thought, well, I'll listen to some of this, and I've been I've been listening, and then, you know, lo and behold, you showed that album the other day.
This was recorded in 1964, so it's got this really, you know, old country folk kind of vibe. You know, it's quite lovely to listen to. Reminds me of stuff like blues, but in that sort of, you know, I don't know who I'm thinking of right now. Someone who's really more into a Blind Lemon Jefferson type, or, you know, that kind of, or that Sun House maybe. You know, it's a bit of like it's a Sun House, but in a white person version of. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's that in my power, which is No, you're right. It's beautiful. Everybody should get into Michael Hurley. It's really good music. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I enjoyed looking at your Spanish.
Yeah, I was on a trip in Spain. Just got back from Spain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was good. It was okay. It was great in Barcelona. I had a ball out there. It was great just to get around some record shops, because I'm usually just, as you know, just hunting around in the wild. So it was nice to actually get into some proper shops and to find things that I wouldn't normally find. Though I did pick up a few things that I could have picked up probably in the UK. This is one I'm sure some of you have got anyway. I was pleased to pick this one up when I was in Barcelona.
Yeah, I got that too. Yeah, it's good.
It's a beauty. Yeah, I've been after this for ages, and it seems to be an expensive one to pick up in the UK, even the reissues. But yeah, I got this. I think this was, I don't know, €25 or something like that in Spain.
The Sandy Denny connection again, because he was the boy.
Right, Yes. They were going out when he first came across to the UK.
And I think Paul Simon.
That's right. Yeah,
recorded it for him.
He produced by Paul Simon, and from 1965. But I love that opening track. Blues Run the Game is just an absolute classic.
Such an amazing record, but the whole album is really good. I mean, everything
it really is.
So bang on original. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
I like Nick Drake done such a great cover of that Blues Run the Game. I suppose loads of people did. I think Sandy Denny did it as well, amongst others. But yeah, top class.
Don't tell me you went down to Barcelona to buy some Mogwai records, please. please don't do that here.
No.
Actually, I'm going to leave it out so I can play it as well. It's a fantastic record.
Yeah, really good. I don't know. Yeah, he seems to be another guy that was just kind of beset by bad luck. I think he had quite a bad alcohol problem, didn't he? He was burnt in a fire. I think that's probably the side that's not been shown. I think he was really badly burnt in a fire and he got a big insurance payout. And I think he used that money, didn't he, to go to the UK and get kind of hook up with the folk scene there and get his album recorded. But I don't think he did anything after this, did he? I don't think he released anything again.
Yeah.
But yeah, top class.
Yeah, it's a one-off classic. Yeah, you're right. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I was really pleased to see though, Jack, that you brought back some Spanish stuff from Spain.
Oh yeah. It was pretty. It was pretty much good.
As Rob says, you didn't bring any Mugwai back.
No, I didn't pick up any Scottish records. I picked up a load of Spanish stuff, and I picked up a couple of Australian albums. And I
show us a couple of things that you picked up. Like I haven't seen your video personally. So
the Vets. Have you heard the band The Vets?
No.
They are Venezuelan. Let's see. I don't think I've got any of it out. I pulled out a couple of things that I've picked up recently, but these aren't things that I got in Spain. I picked up this. In fact, I heard you chatting earlier. I was watching the UFC earlier with my son, and I heard you chatting about Fontaines DC. So I thought I'd show this one. Do you know this album?
I haven't got that one.
Live at Kilmahane Jail.
Yeah.
It's a live album that they recorded in, I think, an old prison. I think this is like, I think you probably know better than me, Mike. I don't know their discography so well other than the first album. I'm not sure if some of these songs were covers, like maybe more political songs. And I think this is quite a political live album. Don't ask me the politics behind it. I don't know, but
actually, it's funny. Liberty Bell is on an album that I showed earlier on, which is the soundtrack to the Kneecap movie.
Oh yeah. See, I couldn't get involved with that. I didn't get into it. I watched about the first maybe 40 minutes, and I need to go back and give it another go. Because, Gordon from I Dig Vinyl, he's like a big fan of Kneecap, and he was persuading me to watch the movie, and he was kind of talking about how great the movie was. And I don't know if I wasn't maybe in the right mood for it, but I just didn't quite get into it.
I think it's a fantastic film.
Speaking of that guy, Gordon, he's from Scotland, I think, as well.
Who, sorry?
Is he Scottish? Gordon, the guy you just
mentioned? Yeah. He's from. We grew up together. We went to high school together.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we played in the same band together. He was the keyboard player, and I was the inept guitarist. Then he picked up the guitar, and he was better than me in the guitar after about 2 weeks. He's like a natural musician. He's just whatever he picks up, he's good at. So yeah, I know him from school.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. What else did I get? I don't know. The last, whenever I'm on your stream, Romeo, I always have a good few beers, so I can never remember what I've shown. So some of these I might have shown before.
That's for the replay for
Do you know that one?
Yeah. I need to get a vinyl copy of that. I know it's available, sort of, reissue at the moment.
This
I have that on CD. It's a great album, isn't it?
Yeah, very traditional, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last year, a guy from the French VC told me about the '89 album was reissued, and I was a little bit too pop to my ears.
Yeah. Well, this certainly isn't. Yeah. This is very stripped back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Very traditional. Some of the songs, I don't think they've got much instrumentation at all. But yeah. This is an original.
It's an interesting album, isn't it? Because it's sort of it follows a sort of circle. It goes around the year, doesn't it? And sort of ends back up at in the winter again at Christmas.
Yeah. And it kind of ties in with, I think, all these kind of pagan kind of highlights in the calendar. And
that's right. Yeah. I mean, this is another record I got at
I know that one as well. Yeah.
In Leeds last time. So this is Yorkshire Garland. There you go.
There's some really good stuff on Topic, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what seemed to have happened, and at the time, I wasn't really aware of this, but because I started, I started getting into sort of, buying sort of folk records and stuff, maybe sort of like, mid 70s. And sort of just about everybody was on Topic, people like, particularly Martin Carthy was on the Topic label. And, Dave Swarbrick when he wasn't doing Fairport stuff.
Yeah.
But it seems what happened is that Topic sort of bought the rights to a lot of folk albums. So some of the the early sort of Dave Swarbrick and Martin Carthy albums, the originals, are on different labels.
Yeah.
But I always imagined that's a lovely album. Yeah. I always sort of imagined that they were released initially on Topic, because that was when I was first sort of starting to to buy that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a great label. Yeah, you can't go wrong with it.
I missed out on a really good job lot of folk records about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I went to a guy's house and viewed the collection. Half of it was jazz, half of it was folk, and I don't know. I think a lot of the jazz stuff, I don't really know overly much about jazz, but I get the feeling that I think a lot of it was on cheaper labels, and it was, I don't know, maybe not such desirable stuff and stuff that I wasn't overly interested in. But I wish I'd picked up the folk bundle, because a lot of the artists were artists I didn't know then. And apart from like Fairport, and there was a nice copy of the Mike and Lyle Watterson, Bright Phoebus.
Yeah.
And I wish
when you showed that, Jack, I was so jealous.
You know that
ring with envy, because you can't get that for love or money.
Yeah, well, that lot that I looked at about a week before I picked up the Bright Phoebus. It's so weird, the Bright Phoebus album. But that lot, if I could go back in time and pick it up now,
yeah.
Show
it's
off.
a lovely album.
Show off.
I'll get it one day. I'll find one day. Yeah.
Trailer.
Yeah, that's the one I've got. That's the one I've got as well. Because they put out the reissue, didn't they? And then it got recalled after.
Yeah, there was some dispute, wasn't there?
This is not the first. If you look on Discogs, there's two. There's a red one and the yellow one.
It's the red one I've got. I think
this is a very second press of it. Like it's probably from the same year, but on it's licensed by Transatlantic Records, which is not surprising. But
there was one for ages on. There was one on Vinted for a long time. Someone was wanting, what were they? I think it was £150 they wanted for it on Vinted. But I kicked myself now, because now I think back to lots of the artists that I'd looked at in that bundle, and now all their names just ping in my head, whereas at the time I didn't really know who they were. And it was brilliant. There's loads of great stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I picked up this one. I showed this one the other day. I'm loving this album. It's really good. It's kind of progressive folk.
Looks cool.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. I hadn't heard of this band before until I picked it up in a lot. But this is on that Regal Zonophone label. It's kind of a little bit bluesy in places.
That's a great Regal Zonophone. It's quite collectible and very a very cool British label indeed. What is it? Is it progressive folk? Is that what you?
Yeah, it's from 71. It's not.
Are they English?
English. Yeah, they're what was it? 4-piece Stone Partridge, Brian Cresswell, Malcolm Poole, and Ian Hoyle. So there's like quite a lot of flute in here. See, at times it reminds me a little bit of Dr. Strangely Strange. A few of the songs sound a little bit like that, but it's not as out there. It's not as hippie-ish as that. It's probably kind of some little jazzy bits in there. Yeah, it's really, really good, but it's very accessible. It's not a hard. It's, you know, some of these albums are quite heavy or out there. It's not really like that. It's quite a straightforward album, but yeah, cool stuff on one of these flip back sleeves. So I've been listening to that a lot. That's really, really good. And this is their second album, imaginatively titled Accolade 2. I would like to hear the first one.
Yeah.
So show us the stuff you Spanish stuff you found in Barcelona.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. I'm not being rude, but I'll be back in a second.
Sure.
I'll see the video.
Let me see. I'll show you a bit of it.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna show maybe some stuff I rediscover. This is a one I bought in Den Bosch last year, and this is I think the guy was from Paris, and he had lots of stuff from Africa, and this is quite interesting. I think the guy was studying in the US. He's from Mali, and he made this record with a bunch of musicians from Cuba. So it really feels the has this salsa, crazy with Afro, yeah, Afro-Cuban rhythm. Really nice. And
One you bought in Den Bosch last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just rediscovered. Yeah. Was exact. I was in the mood, I didn't have the chance to go to Den Bosch, so I went to the stuff I bought in Den Bosch last year.
Can't go to Den Bosch every year from Canada for sure.
That's for sure.
If you lived in Europe, maybe, but now you're in.
So yeah, I listened to my Ramuncho Mata records earlier in the day because
it's really annoying those names on the side of the thing. Some of them, it's you don't know, because when you read the names on the comments, you don't know who the people are. Sometimes.
Oh yeah, because you don't have the display. YouTube or StreamYard doesn't display the names any longer. They display the.
Is it Clément that?
Ouais, c'est Clément. Ouais.
Ah, salut Clément.
Yeah, then more of Den Bosch blues to me, but it's fine.
Soon you're gonna go to Europe anyway.
Yeah. As it happens in less than 3 weeks from now. So we'll be spending some time with my family and friends, and we'll try to hit the Parisian record stores for a day.
Yeah. I've given you some places, but you could
yeah,
I can send you another list of things.
Yeah, we'll try.
Places.
Will be quite impossible to cover to go to all of them.
Yeah, as I say, go to Listed Records. It's very good. It's really good. Everyone's back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see what he's picked up in Spain. So I saw your video, Mike. Thank you very much. That was really nice.
Yeah. I can't really put into words how much I appreciate that stuff.
No, it was evident. It was obvious when you watch your video. It was clear.
Yeah, but
it was also clear that you listened to the stuff. Like that you hadn't just.
Well, this is it. This is it. I don't like doing a video when I don't really know what the album's like. It's just saying, oh, I've got this, and what more can you say if you haven't really listened to it? But
we've talked about that.
It was the best. It was the best thing because there's not one of those records I would have ever bought, on my own volition, and every one of them was a winner. But yeah,
So,
I
so
mean, some of it is just out of this world, isn't it?
That Kenny Nelson album is such a beautiful record. Honestly,
Yeah,
like I think that's still probably my favorite album that I've bought this year. I've bought copies for quite a few people. Like I've actually sent that record to other people because I think this is the kind of record that you wouldn't even that wouldn't be on most people's radar, even if you're into music.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's very sort of naive in a way, and very very outside. It's like Michael Hurley basically, but in a sort of more soulful kind of. It's got this really strange backing synth, which is very primitive and very very simple. And somebody online is described as Francis Bebe meets suicide, which I thought that's really I mean, you have to have the reference points, but I think it's a very apt way of describing it, because it's got this almost, he could be African, yeah, with his voice. He's got this kind of very ancient voice.
Yeah. But I think I was sort of thinking, that maybe because, it's quite clear the guy wasn't a professional musician. He's very much just doing his own thing, wasn't he? For his own entertainment. And I think maybe because he was doing that, he wasn't trying to be like anybody else. He probably didn't have those sort of influences in the back of his head. I want to sound like, X. I mean, I could be completely wrong, of course, but
no, but he wasn't meant to do this music. He was actually kind of helped by the Aboriginal center that looked after him.
Yeah.
They said to him, we can help you. And if you see him on stage, he doesn't move. He's just like, he's so shy. It's surprising that he even does concerts, but he doesn't move a muscle. He's on stage, and you've never seen such a static performance of anyone. He's almost painfully super shy. It's like,
yeah,
because I think he's on the spectrum, and I think that sort of autism is what makes this music also so personal and so incredibly deep as well. Because he's very into himself, inside himself.
Because there's a little bit on the sort of sleeve notes, isn't there, where it says that if he sees you in the street, he'll turn around and walk the other way, to try and avoid sort of contact with people. Yeah,
that's
so
right.
I mean, that is really shyness, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's just wonderful music, and his voice is just mesmerizing.
Oh yeah, his voice is something else.
Yeah,
The way, like, especially on side B, like some of the songs on the B side are just incredible. They're just so, in a way, so cosmic. Like it's so incredibly deep. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. And the other things, they were just, well, picture music like Krat Rock in Brisbane.
yeah. But
It's funny.
But I mean, you mentioned cluster in the note that you sent with the records, and you can really hear cluster in there, can't you?
Yeah. No, it's look. These are records that are widely available because they're released by local labels, and most of the time everybody ignores them because they sit there for months in the place where I bought them all. Like has had these records in and I thought, well, I love those records. I think they're great. People they completely miss the point on them, but I think they're really superb records. Yeah.
And to reply to Richard's, yeah, I already saw the those copy over here online
Yeah.
in North America. So
Yeah.
and even even in the UK, believe it or not, the record store, Flashback Records, where I usually order, they had a copy online.
Did they?
So,
All right.
yeah, they had a copy of this one and the other one. Fred, you showed the lady, she plays the guitar, also like primitive. Vilmaranu, no,
Yeah.
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 I was surprised to see that on the Flashback
I'm
Records.
sure I made a note of that one.
Right.
And but it was a couple of months back now, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
This one, exactly.
That's the one, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, just a beautiful record. Again, like, yeah, killer. Just blues, but made by a First Nations person, her, and very easily gettable. It's on Mississippi Records, which is and recorded in 2023. There we go. So people think that this is an old album that's been re-released, but it's not. It's an album from now. You know, it's incredible to think that. You know, but yeah, highly recommended. If people watch this video if you like blues. I'm not a big fan of blues myself, but there's some stuff that really touches me. It's more to do with this kind of country blues, as I mentioned before. We was talking about Michael Hurley stuff. I'll show you something here that I've got on my feet, which is, you know, what I'm talking about. The anthology of American folk music. You know, the Harry Smith compilation. Have you heard of this? You know, everybody knows this.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that's the genesis of a lot of music that we talk about at the moment is in there somewhere. Like, you know, even the British folk music that we so love is in there somewhere as well. You know, when you think of Shirley Collins, who did her trip to America and actually got blown away by this stuff, and you can see how it's all related. Anyway, Jack, you wanted to show us some stuff. So
I'm not sure. I might have even shown these before on here. I can't remember. I picked this up. This is a Venezuelan kind of garage psych. Again, just a reissue, but it's pretty cool. One of the things that's weird about this, I think this is a bit of a cult item in Venezuela. It goes for like crazy amounts of money, but it's all in Spanish. It's all sang in Spanish. But some of the tracks are cover versions. So for this one here, Este es el fin, which I think is something like this. This is the end, but it's actually Jumpin' Jack Flash with slightly different lyrics, which is a bit strange. But then you've got like Hello, I Love You, which is a fairly straightforward cover version. But yeah, this is cool. I like stuff like this. It's kind of what you'd expect, really fuzzy and cool garage rock with a kind of side twist. Yeah, I love that album cover. The album cover's brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, really cool. So I picked up a few things like that. Some of it I've listened to that a few times. Some of it I've not actually listened to yet because I bought that. I bought a big lot pretty much right afterwards. So this is really cool. I like this as well. This is kind of pop psych. Los Iberos. So that last one was 68. This one is, I think, as I said, 69.
So basically, the Spaniards. That's what the band is called.
Is that like a region? I think it's Iberia is a region of Spain, isn't it?
Because Iberia is Spain basically. It's like it's the Spain and Portuguese peninsula basically. So they've not complicated their lives with that name. That band name. What we call ourselves.
Straight out of Torremolinos. So they were like a Torremolinos band. But yeah, when I started digging about this band, they were such an unlucky band. they went through a few lineup changes because of conscription. But then this guy, what's his name? The kind of main guy behind the band, Enrique Lozano, he was involved in a car crash in a van. I think it's this dude here. And the van driver died, and he suffered really bad head trauma, which he never recovered from. He had depression for the rest of his life. Not long after that happened, his wife took his daughter to the States. And when they got to the States, his daughter then died in a car accident. And I think he pretty much, he never recovered from that. And a kind of sad end to their story. But I think the albums before this are more kind of British invasion beat group type efforts, whereas this is a little bit more bubblegummy. This is a bit more sunshine pop. And
the cover strangely reminds me of the cheerful insanity of Giles and Fripp, like that.
A wee bit. See, this he reminds me of do you know from Clockwork Orange?
Clockwork Orange, yeah.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Dim, yeah.
The Drugs.
Yeah, the Drugs. Yeah, this is cool. And again, I noticed from all the Spanish beat / psych stuff that I got, all the albums seem to be a mix of Spanish language and English language. And I think during that time, it was cool for Spanish bands to sing in English, because this was recorded in London. And another thing I found out, this is really weird connection. This guy, Ivor Raimondi, who was like a bit of a musical director while they were in London. His son is Simon Raimondi, who was the bass player. Cocteau Twins.
Mm.
He was, a kind of strange connection that they were connected to Cocteau Twins. But so I picked up that. And then a few other ones like that. This is my favourite, probably. Oh, this is my favourite one. The guy in Wawa Records was really good at steering me on to all the psych, the kind of pop psych stuff, because there was loads of really heavy, jammy, kind of heavier psych, and that's not so much my thing. So I asked him for poppy, kind of more baroque type stuff, and he pointed me in the direction this one straight away, Los Brincos. These guys were kind of classed as the Spanish Beatles. So this is really, really good. This is their third album from, I think is this from 69, I think. But this is excellent. But listen to that one on YouTube or Spotify, The Train. Check out that song, and that is just how they get away with not being sued by Pete Townsend. Pete Townsend took them to court for that song, because it was a direct rip-off of Substitute. The riff is exactly the same, and I've got no idea how he didn't win. But this is cool. This is really cool. Loads of great orchestration. And the thing I like about this is that some of the orchestration in here has more of a Spanish flavour. So some of the brass, it sounds more Spanish. It doesn't just sound like a kind of British invasion wannabe group. They sound like they have more of their own identity as well. But really, really, really enjoyed that. And then this is good. This is like progressive folk, again with a kind of pop psych flavour to it. I'm probably not saying this right. I.A. Batiste.
Hard to tell what it says there. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, let me take a look at this. It's this is a lovely package. I've now got a few Wawa Records albums, but this is such a lovely reissue. And I always like the Gerson ones, but this is even like this. I think this cost me €28 or something. But just really well put together. Lovely 7-inch that comes along with it. Loads of different inserts.
Why do you show a picture of my parents, Jack?
your parents.
Don't never do that again.
I was thinking that couple at the table that looked really. It's
like my parents.
Got some more inside. There's one thing that I can't get on board with a little bit with this album. So right at the start of side 2, there's like this kind of like zany, wacky bit where I think it's meant to be a humorous, like kind of surreal humor, but because it's in Spanish, I don't really understand it overly well, so it kind of falls a little bit flat. I don't really like.
Sometimes it's almost better if you don't understand, to be honest.
Probably.
Because you sort of get more immersed into what the groove is like, rather than the music itself, the lyrics.
Yeah, so it's lovely layered kind of acoustic parts, and there's nice orchestration over the top, and there's a real with all of the albums, there's a real sense of kind of the influence of the Beatles, obviously being at the time. I think this is 71 or 72 this is from. But there's another, it shows you pictures of another album which I had seen before, but I didn't know it was connected to these guys. You might recognise it. I think this is their first album, and it's called Chicho Norera's Cat. Have you ever heard of that? So this is that's
with the cat on it. Yeah.
A bright orange cover.
Yeah, I know the cover. I know exactly. Yeah, I've never owned it, but it's I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So a really striking cover. So I would like to pick up the first one, but yeah, lots of great notes and stuff on the band. So yeah, another nice one. But all of these things, they were all new to me, and I was kind of steered by the owners because I knew the kind of stuff that I wanted to pick up. I just had no knowledge of that scene. These have disappeared. What have I done? Yeah,
I've never been overwhelmingly or pleasantly surprised when I've been to Spain and tried to dig for records. I don't think. I mean, admittedly, I've never been to Barcelona, but in Madrid, the record stores were pretty average.
Yeah,
and I went to Sevilla and Granada, and there it was the same. The record store was just okay. There was nothing there that I really absolutely wanted or needed. So I never came back from Spain with a lot of records. Portugal, however, different story. Yeah. Portugal, very exciting.
I loved Wawa Records. I loved it. A lot of people in the comments when I did the video said, there was lots of reissues and that kind of thing. And that was definitely true. It was absolutely rammed with reissues. But for me, there was lots of reissues that I would never see in the UK, and I couldn't buy over the internet in the UK.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of counterfeit. So like I've been to Germany so many times record hunting. When you go into German stores, they're absolutely packed out. Well, certainly are in Berlin with counterfeit records. And I didn't find that Spain was like that. I found that the few counterfeit records that they had there, it was from really rare psych records. So I could have picked up counterfeit versions of like Kaleidoscope's second album and a number of other like kind of rarities.
The truth is that in the end, reissues have like. I get the argument for wanting to buy originals and all this stuff. I mean, I understand from a collector standpoint, whatever. But if you don't see yourself as a collector, quote unquote, and you see yourself as a music lover first, it's perfectly acceptable to grab reissues that are well made, well produced. Otherwise, why would they exist? If they're worth nothing, what's the point of having them? I love people who just will tell you or lecture you about how an original is much better. It's much this. There's history. There's this. But in some cases, you can't really get an original. If you live in Australia like me, some of these records are they're out of my reach, and I'm not going to pay 500 euros for a record just so that I can hear it. If I can pay $50 and get a nice issue of it, you know, like I think this argument needs to be made because I'm personally a little bit sick of this kind of like you have to have originals all the time. It's
Who says that? Who claims that out loud?
there's a lot of people out there. No, Romy, seriously, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of
I think for me personally, regular collecting's your own journey, and I've got no problems with people who want to go down that route or want to go down another. For me, like you said there, Fred, for me it would be the music first, and then a lot of the time, if I pick up originals, and I pick up a fair few, but I've never picked an original up off a wall. I've never went to like a holy moly wall and picked something off a wall for £100.
But you know, they are a zillions of reasons why you or I have an OG copy.
Yeah.
Either I have lots of money to buy the record,
Yeah.
or I was young in the 60s when the record was available for next to nothing. So,
So I pick them all up through job lots. Every original I pick up pretty much is through a job lot, and I know that see all the
take a record like this. You know, I'm really thankful that there's a ratio of this. Otherwise, we would never be able to actually listen to it because this record is a multiple zeros. You know, figure. You know, and why would I pay? Why am I going to pay? You know, $5,000 to have an original? It's stupid. You know, I'm not
exactly.
The same with this one and the upcoming Blues Beyond. You know, Baby Graham. It's the same. An OG copy costs an arm and legs.
Yeah.
So,
someone's putting there in the comments CP, and sometimes OGs sound like shit. So I've got an OG of 3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul, and it's absolutely mint cover, mint record, and I picked it up for peanuts, but it sounds terrible. It sounds so dull and it sounds so lifeless. There's no bass, and by all accounts, the reissues. They've sorted that out and it sounds 10 times better, but yeah, so I don't think sometimes they sound better, maybe. Probably most of the time I would say they probably sound better, but some of the time they don't. So
I think what happened is that you know, when the music industry was sort of moving very rapidly towards CDs, and you know, it was the end of vinyl, wasn't it? You know, that was what everybody expected. And I think
my collection.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the albums around that sort of the end of vinyl and the beginning of CDs, a lot of the pressings are not very good. You know, there's just something about them. I think that you know, I mean, maybe the same sort of effort didn't go into vinyl when
I remember
the market was CDs. I don't know, but it's just observation.
I watched an interview. There was this French CEO, and he was talking about Johnny Holiday or stuff like that in the early 2000s, and say people will buy anyway. Collector, they will buy anything, mugs, T-shirt, vinyl. Yeah. So when a guy like this talks like that, how can you expect something from the quality standpoint?
Yeah,
coming out. As it only a collectible item.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, I'm very pleased to sort of like pick up, you know, original copies of albums, you know, now and then. But you know, you've got to have your limits, haven't you? You know, there's got to be a point where you say that, you know, the kind of utility of having an original is not worth that price. And if you can pick up a reissue, then that sounds wonderful and is well packaged, then why not?
Yeah. And Clement here is talking about CDs in the comments, and you know, I'm on the same wavelength as he is. I actually still buy CDs, and I just think that sometimes CDs are just, you know, a perfectly good option. But I'll probably be called a heretic for this, but you know, and be burnt at the stake on the rotating turntable / you know, burning steak. But what I find interesting as well is with some of these, so-called OG collectors that are, hardcore on online and everything. I mean, I don't partake in any Instagram or anything, but I've seen what people are like. They often, some of these people, not everyone, but my general vibe, and I'm going to irk some people here by saying this. I don't really care. I've got nothing to prove here. But a lot of these people will spend thousands on old records from 1971 or whatnot, and completely dismiss some of the great music that comes out today, which is a bit of a shame, because today in 2025 you still have some great music. I'll just show you an example of this. I was listening to this record. Do you guys know Joanne Robertson? She's from Blackpool. There we go. The album is called Bleu. This is absolutely just wonderful. It's
the dream pop.
Yeah, it's like not exactly. It's dream pop on acoustic guitar.
Oh, yeah.
So she sings. The voice is drenched in reverb. Yeah, and she has this very mellow, gentle acoustic guitar. It's like a mix between My Bloody Valentine and Sandy Denny or something. Yeah, it's kind of in the middle of that, So it's a beautiful record, and that's just come out recently, 2025. Very gettable. How many of these people would actually go and source an album like this? Or this here. This is fucking beautiful too. This is Alan Sparhawk from Low. Low. The so-called band. That's one of his first albums since the death of his wife, Mimi Parker. It's such a catchy little record. That's an album from this year. But on Sparhawk, on Sub Pop, wonderful music. Stuff like this. This here, new as well. This you wouldn't find here in where you are, Acopia. They're a trip hop band from Melbourne, and this is again like a brand new release, 2025, and they sound a little bit like a little bit of a Portishead vibe there, or maybe a thievery corporation kind of vibe. Is that records that I got only recently, and this here, beautiful too. This is also a new record. It's Valentina Magaletti. She's an Italian drummer, and on this she does a drumming session with electronics with YPYA, is a Japanese artist, an electronic artist. So these are just examples of new records that people would kind of dismiss. I thought that was a good sort of segue into this stuff, but I won't spend the whole day showing you records, but some little things that I particularly recommend that Joanne Robertson, and I think Mike, you would really enjoy that record, and I think you could find it in the UK quite easily.
I'll have a look. But I mean, new music. The latest sort of new album I picked up is he's one of my obsessions. And that's, And this is Billy at his best. When he's a bloke with a guitar. Yeah. It's very straightforward. It's very sort of very
talk.
Yeah. The Sherlock Holmes rhythm and beat vernacular, and it's on the wonderful Damaged Goods label, and fantastic album.
I was going to reply to Clément there, who asked me about the Alan Sparhawk record. I really like it. Like, it's not just I like it. I've played it a few times. There's a lot of catchy songs on it. It's the first track I can take or leave, but the rest of the album is really wonderful. So I just, but I mean, that's my taste. I don't,
Yeah.
guided by reviews. I really like it. So.
Yeah, I don't know if you were watching right at the start of the stream, Fred.
No,
Right. Well,
I'll join up because I'll just walk. I mean, it's the morning here.
well, yeah. I gathered that. Yeah, it's an ungodly hour, isn't it, for you? But yeah, I was talking about the gig that I went to last night, sort of Kneecap, and
You sent me a picture on WhatsApp. Yeah,
that's right.
I had no real reference point because I looked at your picture and I thought that looks cool. But yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I was going to tell you about the support act, and it was her first time in the UK, and she's a rapper, and she's First Nations rapper, so she's from Tasmania, and she's based in Melbourne at the moment, and she's called Miss Kamina. Have you heard of her? Miss Kamina. That's Kaminna.
Yeah, I've seen her name, but I've not sort of not got into it. And it was good. Yeah,
she was pretty good. She was pretty good, but she fits very well into the political spectrum of Kneecap. And I was reading about her online this morning, and she's apparently got a bit of bad press, for her pronouncements on Palestine, like so many people do.
Yeah, the never-ending question of where you stand on that line is it's not good.
Yeah, it's a minefield, isn't it? But another thing I have to tell you that because I went to the gig with my son last night, and well, he bought the ticket, so that was really nice. But a month or so ago, you mentioned about the Australian Prime Minister getting a lot of trouble because he wore an Unknown Pleasures T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I was relating this to James yesterday, and he wasn't aware of the significance, the origins of the name Joy Division.
Most people aren't.
Yeah, exactly. He had no inkling at all. But
yeah, I mean, why would you? I mean, you think
exactly.
Joy Division? What it sounds, slightly. I mean, when you think of their music, the division of joy, it probably means something to do with them being unhappy and sounding like they're miserable, and that's how you see it. And but then you read about it, and it's actually a Jewish women prostitutes wing of concentration camp, and you go, okay. I mean, but it's not meant in an anti-Semitic way. It's meant in it's sort of like you can't read these things on the sort of like primary level like this. Otherwise, like New Order is even more anti-Semite in a way than Joy Division. That sounds even worse in some ways.
It does, doesn't it? It does. But the whole thing that people for their own nefarious sort of reasons like to sort of make these connections, and then they can find a way of attacking an opponent, and I think it's despicable.
Yeah, that doesn't happen if people have a high level of education.
Exactly.
Well, the person that attacked the prime minister was another minister who was very well educated. So I don't know that it's necessarily true, but
plus Mandela said that education is the most dangerous weapon, so we have to be careful with education.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, in the end, you can find faults on every part of the spectrum, because in fact now, if you say anything, you're guaranteed to offend someone with it. There's someone who will take offense on, and we can't run life as it is, on the premise that we might offend one or two people and there. It's as Ricky Gervais famously said, it's not because you're offended that you're right, and and I feel that very strongly. I think that now you can, we're living in such a politically correct era of history that anything you say may be taken the wrong way by someone.
Yes, exactly.
It's
Exactly. Actually, changing the subject completely.
Yeah.
Sure.
You mentioned earlier on about Shirley Collins and the American influences.
Yeah.
And I picked this up. It was very cheap. It's on the Earth label, The Ballad of Shirley Collins, and it's basically a soundtrack of a film, and it's her, her adventures, her road trip in the States with Alan Lomax.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is that a documentary, or is it a movie?
It's documentary, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's there's some good sleeve notes here about the whole thing. And,
what tracks are on there? I'm interested to know.
that's a good question.
Hairs on the Mountain got to be.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to open the Discogs page whilst you're talking about it, and I'll look at it. So was it called Shirley Collins?
Yeah, there's Shirley Collins singing Calvary Hill. But then there's other people here. Ishman Williams and the Williams Singers. Got on My Traveling Shoes. And,
okay, I found it here on Discogs. I found that.
Yeah.
So
it's not the sort of album that I think you'd want to listen to again and again, but it's very it's very interesting, and to be honest, I bought it because it was very cheap.
There's a lot of Shirley Collins track. I mean, it'd be worth it just to have.
There isn't a lot of Shirley Collins. There's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks from her. So it's quite significant out of the whole thing, out of the whole album.
Well, but there's but a lot of it is that it's very short. There's sort of it's excerpts almost. There's 21 tracks on this album. So it's very interesting. If like me, you're really into this sort of stuff.
Have you seen the documentary, Mike? Have you watched it?
Yeah. It's just I've not actually seen the film. It's something.
Maybe the kind of thing that's on YouTube.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So it was at the London Film Festival in 2017.
I watched another documentary about Lomax himself. At the end of his life, I think he's with his daughter, and he talks about all his mission he went throughout his life. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
He was a key figure in modern music, really. I mean, if you think about his contribution to the whole thing is huge, really. To go around and find all these unknown bluesmen and women and record them and find it's just I mean stuff that we would never know without him. Like he's legitimately a hero, really, musically speaking. And then because he was also very involved with the folk scene in the UK, he's like I would place his role very high up there in this whole revival of folk music in England that we so love and discuss every other time we have a stream.
Yeah, I mean that's right. But in many ways, the English folk revival was imported from America, wasn't it?
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah,
because you've also got the
skiffle.
the
Started
British,
with
the British folk song influence, with the Cecil Sharp kind of like wing of things. But
yeah.
A lot of those songs that had come back from America had originated in Scotland and Ireland.
That's
Correct.
right.
They went to America and then pinged their way back after they kind of mutated out in America. Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it, how it's developed?
It's cross pollination 101.
Yeah.
It's really a really interesting way of
I picked up some CDs the other day. Let me see. I've not actually listened to this yet, but kind of similar. I don't know if any of you guys know this. This is one I picked up a while ago and I've never got round to listening to it. Give it a dust off. You know this?
Oh no, haven't seen that.
So there's all kind of stuff like was it Mr. Froggy went a courting, Green Sleeves, Green Grow the Lilacs. It's lots of, like I said, it's lots of British folk. Then American influences as well. Maryland, My Maryland, The Streets of Laredo, Jesse James, Cotton Eye Joe. I'm not even sure who the acts are, who record them. Let's booklet here.
Right.
I need to give this a listen because I've actually had it for a while. Oh, it's got all the history of it as well. The British Heritage.
Oh, that's really interesting. What label is it on?
I think it's just a cheap label.
Donald Trump Records.
I've not CMH.
No. All right. No. The reason I asked is that there's some very good CD sort of folk box sets by a label called Free Read. So there's a really nice Sandy Denny one. There's a Fairport live one. There's a Richard Thompson one. There's a Fairport studio album stuff, and the really good sort of box sets of 4 CDs at a time, and they were really prevalent in the 1980s, and they always came with a sort of book like that with lots and lots of lovely information in it.
I didn't realise that it was all broken down. So you've got to begin with the British Heritage, then the Building of America. You see that? Westward Migration, the early black songs, Civil War. Then it goes into like the Great Depression, World War II, the milestone songs.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting listen.
I think what Warped Dog Record there says in the comment there, I think the opposite is true as well. The opposite is absolutely 100% true. So, yes, but no. Yeah. Because without the American folk song influence, the British folk revival would never have happened the way it happened.
Yeah. Certainly not the way it happened.
Yeah.
It might have maybe happened in a different way.
Yeah, but you can see sort of why maybe sort of British folk music survived better in sort of immigrant sort of populations in the United States, because it's people retaining something from home, isn't it? Part of their roots. Whereas if it's just living your life in one place and you get swept away by by progress, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that was it. British folk was almost like a protest against industrialisation and progress within the country, wasn't it? It was a way to hold on to traditional British values and British heritage.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's how a lot of the people, you know, the Victorian folk collectors saw it like that, didn't they? It was that they needed to collect this music before it was swept away.
Again, we come back to this thing. Yeah. Gosh, this is. I mean, if anyone wants a value box set, this is the CD version. It's not the. But I just want to show people something because have a look at this. This is so inside of this, you have the most detailed and comprehensive notes by Harry Smith and about the songs. You've got artifacts of the time. You've got like this is what you get, and then on top of that, there's this other folkways. There's a detail of I think that's the original print of this, and then obviously this is a CD box set. So this on vinyl would be just like how many records would it entail? Like 6 records at least.
Yeah.
And that's, I think for this thing, it's the way, I think personally it's the way to go. This you can pick up for, in some, I don't know in the UK, but you can probably buy this for less than £50 over there. It's the best value piece of music that you can that I can think of, really. This anthology of American folk music. Every home should have a copy. But you know what I mean. Like it's such a beautiful thing, and we're that's the heart of what we're talking about. That's that folk music. It's all there,
I've just found it. I was certain I'd seen it somewhere, and it's on Honest John's website, the CD version. Anthology of American Folk Music.
How much is it?
6 CDs, £70.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's new,
that's brand. That's a new copy. So that's, if you think of what you get for that, like I've just opened it for you. It's not that you just get 6 CDs. You get 6 CDs plus. It's tremendous value to have a copy of this, and it's timeless music. It's like music forever. In other words, in a way. But
good.
There's another nice label, I think, for preserving old music and digging up music from the past that's kind of been forgotten. Do you know this? Analog Africa.
Of course, yeah. I've got tons of them.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they're really good. Have you got that one? This is the new one, isn't it? Zigzag Band.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the thing I find funny with this is I think these songs were kind of recorded in the early 80s, but it sounds like early 70s reggae. It's got like such a heavy reggae influence, which you kind of don't expect with African, like kind of Zimbabwean music.
No. I mean, Nigeria was quite big for reggae.
What was, sorry?
Nigeria was.
Yeah, there was kind of that high life style in Nigeria, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Lijadu sisters did a bit of reggae from memory. Yeah.
I just think these, I've got a couple of them now, and they're so well put together as well.
Yeah.
Packed full of music. The pressings sound amazing as well.
Between
between
Strut and Analog Africa, we're very blessed these days because we never get this music otherwise. Like we would never, like unless you went to Africa yourself and tried to find those records, which are often beat to shit. Like an African record, a VG plus African record is a fair copy. like, you know, it's like people are just pissed on it and trampled on it, and then the sleeve is completely destroyed, and then people just go, oh yeah, it's kind of like, for African music it's kind of VG or whatever. You just go, no, it's not.
That's
It's
that's what it
no,
says in here right at the start. The guy says in Harare, Zimbabwe, in 1993, he went round. He was going round the recording studios, checking out the recording studios in Zimbabwe. And before he left, he just filled his suitcase with all these bands that he found interesting. And all these years later, he started to put them out. But yeah, I left with a stack of cassette and vinyl, including titles by a number of artists I'd yet to discover. Gospel music, rowdy guitar-driven Sungura by the likes of Leonard Dembo, a load of Mimbra bass bands. And then it's the same names. It's funny because when you start buying these Analog Africa releases, you start hearing the same names over and over again, and you see how incestuous this music scene was. These guys crossed borders and to kind of get away from political strife, and then form new bands because, what was it, like early 80s, mid 80s, half of the band members, the musicians, had died of AIDS. So it was such a crazy scene. Yeah, really, I'm really enjoying that at the moment.
Speaking of Zimbabwe, I just on my feet I've got this, which is something that I was talking about on my French channel thing. But again, this is we're talking about Uganda, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Congo, and this is early kind of blues music from all recorded on 78s, most of those, and that came out on Olvido. They've only got, this is the latest release, number 13, so they don't have a very big catalog, but it's one of these, you know, new sort of African dedicated. This is fucking fantastic, though. It's just really, really, really. The level of recording can vary on tracks. That is that because they've picked up 78s, and sometimes the quality is, you know, is kind of disputable. But it's like when you listen to Charlie Patton, you're never going to get a copy that's crisp and where the music is perfectly fine because it's sourced from a very, very, very old tape. But this is really worth. I don't know any of the artists personally. I mean, they're all kind of like the blind guitar, you know, like they're just all But likewise, you know, I love those labels who put back this music in the spotlight because they know that the normal folk like us, we can't get to it, you know. Like Ethio Jazz, for example, which I love. You know, with that, the Ethiopic series that was done by this French guy, you know, we'd never ever get that music. And how would you live with that Mulatu and Mahmoud Hamed and it's such vital music? It's amazing, and yet, you know, we couldn't access it in any way, shape.
Maybe we should devote a whole live stream to discussing some of the wonderful stuff from the continent of Africa.
Oh, we could do multiple live streams. I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
I've got you know, cubes filled of this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So, but music from, you know, but I mean, it's you know, like stuff like this here. You could talk about. I got this in my crate in front of me.
Tabula, Yes. He
the Congo from Zaire at the time was Congo.
Yeah.
You know, this I love this because it's like it's really but this is the original article really, but I just love that the sponsor there on the side.
Zaire, God. But he was one of the artists that, you know, back in the 80s when, you know, African music was you know, starting to get a little bit of a foothold in Europe. That he was one of the artists that was you know, kind of spearheading that sort of movement, really. Yeah.
Or this guy here. There you go. It's that's widely available for people to get. But I mean, like, what would it take to try and find all these songs on in original form? It would be nigh on impossible, you know. So
Yeah.
Oh,
when you've got this Africa 7, another really great label. When you've got a label like this that's prepared to do the work and package it really, really well and give you, you know, a historical perspective out of it, you just go, okay, well, you know, why not? You know, I don't need to buy an original press of everything. You know, it's very cool. Yeah. In saying this, when I was in France, I was, if I can find it, I was able to source, very luckily, a beautiful Francis Bébé original, which I love. This is him just doing guitar by himself. You know, it's like a folk album by Francis Bébé. You know,
wow.
it's cool to get. Yeah, so yeah, when you can get one of these and it's not too expensive, you're going, okay, well, that's cool. But when they cost, you know, $4 or $5, then no, thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the stuff would have been on cassette anyway, wouldn't it?
What's that?
A lot of the stuff would have been on cassette anyway.
Yeah,
You know, back
probably.
in the 70s. Yeah,
Probably, yeah, you're probably right, yeah. But you know, like of an African stream, yeah, 100% could do one. I mean, no expert, but can show the records at least and talk about.
no. I
You've
mean,
got African records,
really
Jack?
interesting.
No, not too many. No, it's fairly new to me. My pal Gordon, he's really into his African music, and we do a little record club between us where we buy each other a new release each month, because you know what you were saying earlier about keeping up to date with new music. I really like to do that as well, but I find that there's so much old stuff that I like that I'm always kind of looking backwards. So having this wee club's been really good. So we send each other a record each month of a new release, and he quite often sends me an African record because he knows a lot more about African music than I do. He's got a lot more African releases. But yeah, it's something I've kind of been getting into more recently, like all the Zamrock type stuff.
Zamrock,
yeah. I think it's quite easily accessible as well. It's easy to get into, and if you're into like West Coast kind of psych, a lot of that's not too far away. It's really fuzzy guitars and
I personally have my objections against Zamrock. I think it's a flavor of the moment. I think
possibly, but I love that Lazy Bones album. I think it's tremendous.
And I think it's too much like Western music for me, for my like when I listen to Zamrock, I think, wow, these are African music that are musicians that I try to be Jimi Hendrix and Cream and whatnot. You know, they've got this kind of, and I'm more interested in African musicians that do African music that is their own. You know, like this is why I kind of, you know, my personal objection on it is I think I have one Zamrock record in my own collection, but the rest I just find it too aping the stuff that's, you know, I would rather them do things that are you know, be it High Life or Sukus or, you know, or whatever it is, you know, griot music.
I don't mind all that cross pollination. It's like the Spanish records that I showed earlier. They're essentially, you know, aping British invasion bands, but it's just with their own little spin. And I quite like that, and I like I like their spin on it. I think it's the drumming, especially the drumming in some of these albums is so good, especially that Lazy Bones album, the Witch album is great. That's another one he got me fairly recently, was the new Witch album, which is really cool.
Which is like, I mean, which is a psych rock band. I mean, you know, there's not a lot of, you know, I don't think there's a lot of difference between them and an American rock psych rock band of that time. You know, they've got this kind of sound. You know, that's what I'm saying. But I understand why people like them. I'm not disputing the fact that they sound good, but they're actually playing. I think they're either playing here in Melbourne or they've played here recently. I don't know, but they were touring again, and people were talking about them. But I know who is a big fan of Zamrock is Dylan from the guy from Noble Records. He's a massive collector of that stuff.
I know that he bought a lot from Zambia, but I was chatting to Steve Carlson, and he was telling me that when he was buying a lot of that stuff, a lot of the lower grade stuff, Steve bought off of Dylan because he got really into it as well, and he started buying a lot of his originals. He told me, he said to me, he had a lot of Zamrock originals, but they were so beat up. Some of them were quite difficult to play. It's just the nature of, I suppose, those records at that time. They must have just get played at party after party after party, and they've just been totally beat. But then again, the same things like Turkish psych, all that Anatolian stuff. Again, it's its own kind of variation on. I love that. I love the fact that all these nations around the world have taken this kind of common form of music and put their own spin on it and put their own identity onto it.
There's a comment from Fred there, Spectrum Archives. He sounds very I don't disagree with you that they sound African, but they're also, if you listen to their records, it's that very, as I said,
you can hear the Stones in there. For me, that Lazy Bones album, you can hear a lot of the kind of late 60s, early 70s Stones.
There are. What does Stunty say there? There are
more Fela Kuti. They are more Fela Kuti.
Well, because Fela Kuti recorded everything he did.
I know.
Fela Kuti farted, he recorded it. It's about that. Like
knowing what I know, and it's very little about African music. I wouldn't do a stream about African music. To be honest, I would do something more like Rai, or as Jack say, Turkish. Try to divide, because African music, it's. Do we talk about European stuff, or
No.
We'll say music from the African continent. Of all, because the thing is, I couldn't personally do a stream just on Nigeria or on Ghana or what. The big countries there, Mali, South Africa,
Ethiopia,
Ghana, and Nigeria, probably the biggest musically diverse countries.
Yeah.
Mali is exceptional. Like, people kind of go past it, but I think Mali's got more diversity within the country musically.
Because of the tribes, because of the many tribes and language.
More than and South Africa is very diverse too. It's incredibly. But the thing is, like, if you were to talk about one of these countries, you could probably talk about South Africa for a while or something. But I think for me, it's like it would be showcasing music from all parts of Africa. I know what Homu is saying. We do this about Europe. No, probably not. But we do have lots of French albums, lots of English albums, lots of which we can discuss. It's about the volume of albums that we have to show as well.
This one from South Africa. It's like kind of South African. I suppose it's kind of neo-psych. I think it's from 81. But it's really strange. They're called Steve Linegar's Snake Shed.
It's white people from South Africa, though.
But the even stranger thing about it is that how obsessed they are with all things Far East. So they're like into like mysticism in the Orient. So it's guys from South Africa who are like pretending they are like samurai or something like that. It's kind of a bit bonkers, but it's good.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. But yeah, I understand, that it might seem a bit sort of kind of arrogant and very sort of Western to say, well, African music, and to say, that's a thing, because it clearly isn't. But I think I'm with you, Fred, that I don't have enough African music to say, this is my collection of Nigerian music, this is my collection of music from Mali. But yeah, but there's so much out there. There's so much out there, and it's just
Like, hello.
definitely worth
Americans, they constantly talk about European music. What are you talking about?
Do they?
Yeah, of course they do.
Really?
Yeah, no, they do. They talk about European, European, and in that with that, the implication is like more sophisticated music, European music.
or imports, expensive.
Yeah.
So they will
Yeah.
tax the European music. They will tax the VC when they talk about the Beatles. No, they think the Beatles are an American band, I think. Oops.
Yeah. It seems that way, doesn't it? Sometimes.
How are you, Stunty?
Are you not good?
No.
But you did your stream yesterday. I don't know how that was possible. You told me you were so sick. I was surprised that you even did that.
I laid down and slept for like 40 hours before, and took aspirins and did everything I could, and it worked. And this morning when I woke up, I felt like the payback.
Yeah.
You said Clément said you lost your taste. Did you lost your music taste as well? It was bad. Sorry about that.
That's Stunty's way of saying connard.
I know.
Den Bushitis. Yes, he has Den Bushitis.
I mean, 35,000 people from all around the world in the same place for 3-4 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you get, Stunty? Did you get COVID? Yeah.
Oh dear.
I got it when I come back from Spain. I was off work for the week. I got it in the airport, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's everywhere. It's not, you can't stop it. Just have to live and exist.
Did you spend a lot of money in Den Bosch, Stunty?
Sorry?
Did you spend a lot of money in Den Bosch?
That's a very American question. You're better than that, Jack.
Did you buy a lot of records?
That's the question.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Yeah.
What was the really interesting music you found in Den Bosch?
He didn't really get interesting music, It was all shit.
He lost his taste. He just lost his taste.
So I got
Exactly. He bought. He went and he bought some
Johnny Hallyday,
records. That's right. Exactly.
Dalida,
No,
Sergama.
I got some British metal from the 1990. Folk from France, hurdy-gurdy from Italy, France. Tons of different folklore, traditional music from different areas of Africa, Togo, Chad, Mali. I got Chilean, to go back to one of your early topics, Mike. Or no, it was Romuald who was asking about Chile. 2 Chilean electroacoustic records from the 70s that I was looking for a long time. An Egyptian record that I was really after. A lot of people would think that the big item was Canaxis by Holler Shukai from 1969, like the same year the first Can album came out. So the guy from Can. Very different beast. I got a bunch of cool. I talked with Fred about it. I got the Call from Mal Valdron. I got a Steve Red album. I was after. I got a Stereolab 10-inch. I was after. I bought the CD back then when it was released in 1991 or 2. And yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that record, I got it in the late 90s, and this, I will regularly say, this is my favorite record ever. And this is the reissue of the record from I was talking about, from '69, reissued on Spoon, which is Irmin Schmidt's label. So the guy from Cannes, or one of the guys from Cannes, and 500 copies. And but what they don't say here is that this version is missing some of the recording. It fades out or something, so it's not complete. And all the reissues that have come since then are they're missing that. So I have a good excuse to haven't gotten to pay.
That's the cover that you've got, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that.
Mm.
And the condition was, there was only like the fading of the writing on the sticker, like some reddish on the cover, like a number that you can see. Otherwise, it's like in really, really great shape. And the price was, I did good.
Well, the price was horrendous, was it?
No, it was, usually it's a record that goes for, this one I got
That's
as
a
well.
killer record. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Such a great record.
Oh, no, it was one of my top ones in jazz. And I was
the
just waiting
bass there of Eberhard, because it's kind of like, because Fred Bracewell was in etc. the krautrock band as well, so it's kind of like krautrock and jazz rock and funk and whatever. It's a killer record. It's one of the best, really. It's the bass on it that kills me. The bass is really driving on this, and Stunty can.
Oh yeah. Funny enough, Fred, though, I was after another Mal Waldron record, Candy Girl, which just got reissued recently.
Yeah, I bought the reissue myself. Yeah,
and it's a very expensive. Like, it was never officially released back in '75. They only did a handful of promos, and I knew a guy who might have it. I asked him to bring it. If he had, he brought it. The price was 2,400 euros. And on the night of the second day, before I was about to think about my strategy of how to negotiate, etc., I went to listen back to it, and I decided, nah, I don't need that. It's cool, but it's fine. What's cool about that record is that it's the Lafayette rhythm section that is playing with Mal Waldron. Lafayette rhythm section is three guys from America who were doing these records in France of like very cool French funk. Fred, you have these records, Malik, right?
No, I don't have Malik. No, I know it pretty well, but I've never bought it. No. No, it's it's a funk record. Yeah.
They've done about like 40, 50 records where they are the main attraction, and I have like 6, 7, 8 of them. So I thought, like, even if I get it for like 800 euros, it's a cool record, but it's not like something that I go crazy for. So
I've just bought the reissue that they've just done. It's in the mail. It's coming.
The Malik with the Afro women on the cover. Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool record, but I don't need it in my collection.
It's very cool, but it's just okay. Odd.
It's a funky record. Yeah, exactly.
I would prefer, in a good way, in Mal Waldron's career.
Sorry,
it's odd in a good way in Mal Waldron's discography.
Yeah, but with Malik, I would prefer to listen to Godchild or something like that.
But the call that you just showed is also a bit funky and much better, I think. Much more repeated listenings, I would say.
Yeah. Another record that I don't know, when I think of this record here, the Julian Priester record on ECM sounds a bit like this.
Nora?
No, Love. You know.
Love. Michael Nora.
No, it's not Michael Nora. It's Julian Priester. It's
yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Poem Tutu. There's similar kind of vibes in the record. This is fire.
I think this is even better.
When you talk of the Canaxis, it made me think of this one,
Moshi.
and
There's
probably
a sort of
the concept, and probably because I discovered both in the same week, and it's different
Moshi's
though.
concept is even more crazy because it was recorded on a trip, on a 2 or 3 year long trip
to
in
Africa.
Africa,
Yeah,
with people coming into the band while leaving. I think one died even.
yeah. Mm.
Whereas the Canaxis thing is they did it all in the studio. Like they want to record. So they were on a trip in Vietnam and did some field recordings of the nature and of the people and the singing. But I'm not sure. I don't know if they thought about doing that. If there was an intention to make a record out of it while they were doing it. Whereas the Moshi, yeah, that was the intention to create music.
Mm-hmm.
Who had a cuckoo there? Was it?
Yeah, here.
Yeah, oh my god,
the cuckoo, which is a great pentangle song, just to mention. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Fred, yes, the call is available as a reissue, I think.
Is
Oh
it?
yeah, Eclectic Vinyl. Yeah, I bought the Herman Nietzsche. I traded the Herman Nietzsche box set Island, which was one of my top 2 grails. So I did that on the first day. So already I was happy. Plus I had almost all my budget left because I traded it for 7-inch that I didn't like.
Yeah, well, you trade six records for 1 7-inch. That's pretty good trade.
The 7-inch is extremely rare, and actually from your, we talked about this with Fred. It's from Australia. Comes with a book. It's very esoteric, modern classical music with some mild electronics, but it's not that special. The one I got in exchange. Well, that's the thing. The guy who I traded it for, he had 3 copies of that record, 200 copies only from 1980. So for him, it cost him less than for me in a way, even if he traded a more on the paper expensive record. So I bled a record that I will never see again, even if I'm not a fan of that record, but it's an interesting record. He bled a double.
You're happy, right?
Yeah.
Look at the smile on the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because I'm having raspberries.
Raspberries, yeah. Okay, so I think it's time to wrap up, to hit the button, guys.
I just wanted to say something that from the beginning of
the
Meet,
stream.
Yeah,
sure.
when Mike was talking about Stock Aitken and Walkerman, the mindless pop music, I think it's really the opposite. It's like, and I like some of their stuff. I think it's extremely political music, in the sense like they were literally promoting the official lifestyle of the 80s, like the dream. When you take a song like FLM by Mel and Kim, Fame, Love, and Money, if that's not political, it's just that if we don't see that this is a political project, that's how they succeed. And that's why it's political.
Is it political or is it ideological?
Yeah.
But when you promote, like when you see all these pop songs from the 80s where like it's all about getting the woman, getting the guy, and the means for that is always money, objects, good looks, sexuality, that's completely political. That's
It was promoting capitalism and materialism.
Yeah. I mean, it's the sort of, it's the mainstream, isn't it? Because as you say, Jack, it's capitalism. So it's okay for people to be striving for these sort of things, and it's seen as totally normal. Therefore, it's not seen as
But
ideological.
you know what? It seems totally normal. But if you remember how it was in the late 60s and 70s, that wouldn't have been normal. But we had like 10 years, a good decade of brainwashing through that music that makes us think that's normal. But if you remember, like the musicians and their ideals in the 60s and 70s, nah. So that was very, very effective.
Yeah,
I suppose the 60s, though, was different, wasn't it? It was all sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah, but it was also collective life, sharing, not possessing things necessarily.
It was Yen Drury. It wasn't the Sex Pistols. No.
yeah,
Sex and drugs. Okay.
yeah.
No.
It's
That's
a
right,
bit
yeah.
more. Yeah, it's a bit more complicated than that. But yeah,
Ennui, no.
Sex and drugs and rock and roll.
I mean, when you
Okay.
think Elton John being maybe the mindless pop and all that is hyper political, Candle in the Wind. He didn't choose to make a song dedicated to the death of your wife or my brother. He dedicated a memorial song to a royalty. How that's
yes, yeah. It's the hegemony, isn't it? It's you know,
It wasn't written about
that's what it
royalty, though,
is.
was it?
It's acceptable. You know, it's acceptable. You know, within what you might call the establishment,
and it could
because
change because
it promotes
they
the
build,
status quo.
I agree with you, but it could change because they just build a framework to make it acceptable for
Yeah.
such a long time. It might not be forever.
Well, let's hope.
Guys, thanks for joining the panel once again. Thanks to all the people in the chat or peanut gallery. It's always a pleasure. See you. Sorry, Mike. See you next time. Take care. Bye bye.
Like,
Bye now.